Hello there. So today I spent the whole day doing year ends. So that's what I'm thinking about today, which means that's what the live is about. So what does it mean when an accountant does your year end? If you're a sole proprietor, this does not apply to you. This is only for corporations. So what does that mean? Basically an accountant is going through your balance sheet, so your assets and liabilities and sometimes the equity piece, and we are making sure that each of those lines matches up to a supporting document. So the bank account matches what the bank statement says from your bank, plus or minus reconciling items sometimes, like if you wrote a check that hasn't been deposited yet, it would be in your books but not in the bank account, that kind of thing. We also look at loan balances. Maybe you have a car loan or something like that. Taxes that are outstanding, if you owe the CRA any money at all, sales tax, income tax, payroll, and we just make sure that those balances are correct. We also have a look through the P&L, profit and loss, or also known as your income statement, and we make sure that it looks reasonable. So what I'm talking about here is the lowest level of assurance. It's called a compilation engagement. So not an audit. We're not doing a deep dive. It's not a review. If you want to know about the different levels of assurance, so the audit, review, and compilation, I will link to a video I did about that last year in the description. So we are just doing a compilation, and that's really just making sure that it looks reasonable. So I like to go through each of the income statement accounts, so your income and your expenses, and just make sure that everything looks like it should belong there. So if I see, like, I don't know, an internet bill in advertising, then I would have a question about that. Or if I saw like dog food, I'd have a question about that. Sometimes you actually can deduct dog food, but that's a small aside and not usually relevant. So I'm just going through your income statement, making sure that looks good, and making sure that the sales tax amount is correct as well. So if you live in Ontario, that most of your sales have an HST. Well, all of your sales have HST on them, unless you're an exempt or zero rated supplier. That's a whole other story. I'm pretty sure I did a video about that too. I'll see if I can find it. I'll link to that as well. Just making sure that everything seems good. And then we take that information once we're satisfied that the balance sheet and the income statement are correct. I do that head move because we're not doing a deep dive, like I said. And then we use that information to prepare your financial statements, usually outside of the accounting system. Sometimes it's done inside. I do mine in Excel. Like, I pull from the accounting system and put it into Excel so that I can group some stuff together, because usually you don't need every single one of the expense accounts or income accounts. We can group some of the bank accounts together, that kind of thing, for your financial statements. And then we put that into a tax preparation software. So I like to use Profile, but there's tons of them out there. And it goes directly from the accounting software into Profile, or at least if it's QuickBooks, then it does. Some do not connect to tax softwares, which is a bit annoying, but also a story for another time. So once we get it into the tax software, then we work our magic. I don't want to say magic because it's really logic and rules based. It's not just crazy whatever we want. And we go through and we make sure that we've prepared the tax return properly. And that's basically the end of it. I like to send my work to my client. I don't know how common that is because I don't speak to a lot of other small business accountants regularly, but I like to send my work to my client and just have a conversation with them about what they think and how it looks to them, because I feel that they know their business better than I do. So I like to just have that conversation at the end to make sure that we didn't miss anything. And then if that all goes well, I will file the taxes. And that's the end of it. It sounds simple, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's really not. Sometimes you get in there and you find stuff that just doesn't make sense, or you have to sort of track through what happened because it'll be multiple entries and they all sort of point in different directions, and I'm starting to not make any sense. But that's what a year end is. So if you have a corporation, then that's what your accountant is doing when they do your year end and your corporate taxes. If you have a question about any of that, definitely leave them in the comments for me and I will answer them right there. If you want to chat about your year end specifically, then you can book a free 30 minutes with me. I've put that link in the description already. And if you have a question for a future video or a question you'd like a video done about, then leave that for me in the comments as well. And I will do a video just for you in the future. I will see you tomorrow.